What's good, everybody? I'm here to do the recap of Fight Night Michel Pereira versus Anthony Hernandez. Not my best, but I know a lot of people got kind of fucked on this card. It was a tough one to bet on. But I think if you probably put a bet on every single one of the fights that I predicted, I think you might have made money, or you would have, not lost a lot, right? Personally, I had a lot of success. I'll tell you why when I get to it, but yeah, man, I'm not gonna waste any more time. The first fight, what did I say? Austin Lane gets it done, man. Look, the first takedown wasn't even a takedown. I think Despain just like kind of tripped, but I was just like, I don't think Despain has gotten much better with the takedown defense, and it proved he really hadn't. I believe he won the second round. Austin Lane ate some shots that Austin Lane typically does not eat. So I was pretty impressed by his chin this time around. But for the most part, man, I thought Lane, the takedowns weren't really crafty. I was kind of holding on because, look, dude, that was very close. I think I did pick a Lane decision, so I think the odds on that, if you bet on that, were, over plus 1200s, right? So, if you did, good shit. I didn't. I just went pure money line, which still was helpful. But, man, Lane is not good, and Despain is just worse. People overrate the hell out of this guy. He has not faced any sort of challenge, and I talked about how Austin Lane is going to come out there and take him down, okay? Austin Lane he's not great, but he's not an idiot. He might be, but he's not that stupid to not, expose that weakness. He's been training at Extreme Couture, getting those rounds in. I thought he'd come in with a solid game plan. The game plan was okay. He almost got knocked out a couple times, but he comes out and gets the win. And a hell of an underdog for me to pick right, and actually a pretty impressive one. But next up, these fights, yeah, I did Tapology. I got all of them right. Women's fight, just go to decision immediately. Anyways, next fight, Gene Matsumoto versus Brad Katona. This shit was a fucking war. Man, Brad Katona is so game, bro. I gotta give this dude respect, bro, because, look, every time this guy fights, he always comes to put on a show and comes to win. Hold on. He doesn't come to put on a show, but he comes to win, and he knows how to win, and he does a very good job at it. He is actually, a veteran that's actually fucking, solid. He's really solid, and I like his game, man. He always comes out there and finds a way to have close fights with great strikers. As you can see, they're very even on the strikes. Matsumoto, to me, won this fight. He was landing harder shots, landing some bombs, and that's a good win for Matsumoto now. It's 2 in a row, 2 pretty solid wins. Brad Katona is actually a good fighter, as you could see, and I was very impressed by him, man. He was eating some bombs as well as dishing back some heat, and Brad Katona doesn't have much heat, but he was dishing something back, whatever he had. But, man, I picked Gene. He got the win. But I always, got to give respect to Brad Katona because he's a guy who's not easy to beat. He's not. As you can tell, man, the dude came out there and won to win. And I got to respect him for that. He's a very smart fighter. He comes in with a great game plan, always executes the game plan. And I got a lot of respect for Brad Katona. They threw him into the fire with this one. But he showed he's still good. I think, Brad Katona could beat a lot of bantamweights, fraud check a lot of guys. He's a tough fighter, man. But I like Brad Katona, and a good win for Matsumoto. A great guy to have in your, winning or to beat is Brad Katona. He's a good fighter. So, yeah, good win. Oh, man. Asu Amabayev versus Mateus Nicolau. Look, man, I don't even think I had a bad read on this fight, okay? In the third round, Mateus Nicolau did not get dropped. He, got kind of shoved down. But, my God, Asu Amabayev is horrible on the feet. Oh, he's horrible on the feet, guys, and this is what I was talking about. And he wasn't able to get the takedowns going, and if Mateus Nicolau would have just did a little bit more in the first round, he would have won the fight. Sucks. It's painful to watch. You guys know it. It is. But I thought I had a good read on this fight, and, honestly, I did. Asu Amabayev, the next person he fights is going to be a fantastic fade because he's not that good, guys. He's really not. I think Charles Johnson would beat this guy. I think there's so many guys. I think Joshua Van beats this guy. Man, I think I think there's a lot of people that beat this guy. Matt Schnell probably beats him too. I don't think Asu Amabayev is as good as people think. And it kind of really showed tonight. He's not that great. Like I talked about before, Vergara was tagging him up. he ain't good, man. He's got good kicks. His ground wrestling is good. But if he runs into anybody that knows how to stuff takedowns, like a David Dvorak beats a Suamabayev. Really, he really does. If you want to like argue with that, you're an idiot. Go watch David Dvorak fight. He actually smashes Suamabayev and beats him easy, 30-27. Simple. Simple as that. That's actually not even a hot take. That would happen if that fight ever played out. So, Suamabayev is not that guy. Never cracked a top 5. Never get a title shot. I think a good fight for him would be like someone like Tyra. So just someone Tyra can beat the hell out of, because Tyra would eat. Oh man, it'd be bad. But yeah, Suamabayev's not that great. Nicolau was the right pick there. Shit happens, okay? He got kind of flushed to the ground. The shot didn't even land on him. And, he got a close submission attempt as well. The right pick, just, didn't go our way that time. Sucks. Next up. Oh, my fucking goodness. Daniel Pineda taking on Darren Elkins. Daniel Pineda, I bet on this fight because I was like, Daniel Pineda is a fucking underdog versus Darren Elkins. And Daniel Pineda is actually not bad, all right? He's got good boxing. His submission game is good, and Elkins came out there and outclassed him. I don't know if I could say much else. I thought, personally, I think Daniel Pineda is 10 times the fighter of Darren Elkins. And there's no more ever, I don't care who Darren Elkins faces, that I won't bet against him. I'm going to bet against him every opportunity I get. The guy's horrible. His brain is hanging on the last thread. As you can tell, man, the dude can't even look straight anymore. His brain's been hit so many times. So he's struggling. But I like Darren Elkins nonetheless, man. He gave a great fight. So I have to give him credit. He beat Daniel Pineda fair and square. Pineda is a better striker. He was hitting him with some good shit. But look, Elkins came out there and put the pressure on him and got the win. I didn't think that would happen here, but it did. And Daniel Pineda retired. I actually like Daniel Pineda. He's a fun guy, brings it every time, and sucks to see him go because I actually really like watching his fights. And yeah, next up. Now this one makes me mad, all right? Jake Hadley, you are a fucking bum, all right? I didn't even bet on this fight or anything, but you're a bum, bro. I've talked about Jake Hadley before and what he has on the feet, and he's a southpaw. It's a 1-2 and an inside low kick. There's nothing else he has. Go watch his fights. That's all he's got. Sure, he's pretty fast, but all he's got is a 1-2 and a low kick, an inside low kick. That's it. There's nothing else on the feet to worry about. And Cameron Smotherman is not that great, but any good boxer is going to pick up on that. And he did a fantastic job going to the body. Jake Hadley's a bum. I wouldn't mind seeing him get cut. Because if he would have gone in this fight and wrestled, I think he would have won. Wrestled more, I think he would have won, okay? But yeah, man, good win for Smotherman, man. He picked up on that 1-2. Like I said, any good fighter is going to do that. So Jake Hadley's a bum. You know what I mean? He's a scrub. He needs to get cut from the roster. I don't mind, seeing him away. He's not great at all. And good win for Cameron Smotherman. Obviously, I got my pick wrong, but I didn't like Smotherman. I don't think he's that good. I just know now how bad Jake Hadley is. I talked about it before with the 1-2 inside low kick. That is all he has in a good ground game, a good submission game, and he didn't even use it one time. You should have known in the first round. No. And then the dude wants to get put on the back foot the whole fight. I'll talk about the put on the back foot because there's another instance, all right? 2 instances, actually. But, yeah, good win for Cameron Smotherman. Next up. Sumidarje versus Charles Johnson. Pretty good fight here, man. I picked Charles Johnson. I didn't expect Sumidarje to look that good, and he really did. He was giving a lot of fits to Charles Johnson on the feet. And in the second round, Johnson hurt him real bad. Almost had him out of there, but, Sumidarje got up and reversed the position and actually looked a lot better than I thought. Okay, I can't lie. I think you could say the guy won the fight, honestly, and I wouldn't be upset. I think the odds were a little bit too telling. Charles Johnson, he's pretty good. I don't think he's the best, but I don't think he's bad. I think he's absolutely deserves a shot at the rankings now because he's won 4 fights this year, I believe. No, he hasn't won 4. 3 fights in a row, I think. So yeah, I think good win for Charles Johnson, man. We'll see what he does next, but I thought it was a closer fight than people say. Unanimous decision is pretty crazy to me, but whatever. Now let me tell you guys what I did on this fight, all right? So, I did not know that the odds had gotten out of control. I mean, they got out of control, all right? They got out of control. We're talking plus 450 on Rob Font. Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, I threw dough on Rob Font to win. And yes, I live betted him after the first round plus 800. I did, all right? Yeah, man. I talked about it. I talked about how this fight could be close in my predictions video. I said Rob Font, he puts on the pressure. He can win this fight. Give Phillips a lot of problems, and that's what he did. That's what I mean. Like, you can't just be on the back foot all the time. You got to come forward at some points. And that's what a lot of these fighters have been falling into. We see guys on the back foot and they don't know how to fight. Jake Hadley, Kyler Phillips, Michel Pereira, another guy next up who doesn't fucking know how to fight off the back foot at all. So if you don't know how to fight off the back foot, you can't do it. And I think Kyler Phillips actually does know how to. I just don't know why he looked like shit. I think the cardio was too much. The volume was too much from Font. And I think he schooled him. But yeah, man, Font, I bet, a live bet, and I, bet on him before the fight. I mean, how could I not? Plus 450 is ridiculous. Okay? And I saw towards the end of that first, Rob Font was making him tired. I knew this going in the second and the third. And I made a lot because I talked about that forward pressure, and it just added up. It added up, and it was kept on going. I mean, I thought Kyler Phillips would have better footwork to get out of the way, but he was just getting walked down. Rob Font wasn't even cutting the cage off well. It wasn't even like that impressive from Font. He looked slow. He looked old. I don't know what it was because Kyler Phillips, like I said, Font wasn't even cutting the cage off. Kyler Phillips was just standing there, which he doesn't really do. No calf kicks, no front kicks, nothing up the middle that would give Font an issue walking forward. No body shots. He wasn't worrying about anything. No step-in knees. So you don't have a danger. There's nothing, no repercussions from walking right into the dude. And that's what these fighters don't seem to understand. That if you can just walk anyone down, you got to give them a consequence, okay? That's something that O'Malley does well. A lot of other strikers do well, is throwing the knee up the middle. Ian Gary versus Jeff Neal, you got to give him a consequence of coming forward. Kyler Phillips didn't do that. Hadley didn't do that. Michel Pereira didn't do that. There's nothing that those guys did to give you something to think about. The opponent just walked them down every time. So that's why it's hard for me to watch that because I feel like it's such a simple thing, and I'm not a fighter, but I mean, look, man, and I don't know what it's like in the octagon, but if you're a professional fighter, I expect you to execute something as simple as that. But next up, man, good win for Rob Font as well. But yeah, next up, man, oh man. Oh, this was a fucking beatdown. Michel Pereira in the first round kind of had Hernandez hurt a little bit, and then he backed off. I don't really know why, but from then on, it was a fucking murder. All right, I actually pretty much predicted this fight pretty good because I did say like the first 2 or 3 minutes of the first round, Fluffy always looks like shit and the opponents always look great, and that's what it was, right? And then we saw a complete takeover. I didn't know it was going to be like that. Okay, I didn't know Fluffy was going to take him over that fast and make Michel that tired. I got in on the round 4 for Anthony Hernandez finish, and I don't know how he didn't get it. He got in round 5, but that sucks. But my goodness, man, that was a fucking beatdown. And Michel Pereira, brother, you lost a couple years off your life, man, because that was bad. And I picked Fluffy to win, but man, I just said it. I didn't expect that, and that was a fucking murder. But a hell of a performance, man. And this dude's going to cause a lot of people problems because if you're able to do that for 5 rounds, which he was able to do and did not look that gassed at all, actually, it's going to be a tough night. 219 significant strikes with 10 takedowns. 152 significant strikes with 219 total strikes, 10 takedowns. You're in for a long night, all right? I think this guy murders a lot of the middleweights. And, it's going to be interesting because I think a fight between Hernandez and, the champion DDP would be a fucking banger. It would be so fire, but I don't want to talk about that yet. Fluffy's got a long way to go. You know, he's not even in the top 10 yet, so he's got a long way to go. We'll see what happens, but I think people are going to be ducking this dude. They don't want to fight him, and I don't blame them. So, yeah, that's going to be it for me today. I'm sorry for the bit of a lazy video. You know, I got to go into work, so, yeah, I don't really have that much time, but, yeah, I'll catch y'all boys in the next one, and you guys know I take pride in my picks, so I'm going to try to do better next time. Gotcha.